What's up, gurus? It's your boy Pablo, wishing each and every single one of you amazing gurus a happy Tuesday. Today's video is going to be an awesome one. We're going to be talking about a legendary work from one of the greatest samurai of all time. But before we dive into that book, I just want to give each and every single one of you a huge shout out who are already following us. But if you're not already following us, be sure to do that at AskAGuru app on Instagram and on X. Subscribe here at AskAGuru TV. But most importantly, gurus, download the app or sign up at askaguru.com. Share your favorite music, movies, books, and TV shows, and I guarantee you'll get the most amazing, life-changing recommendations right back from gurus just as awesome as you. And don't forget, we have got the greatest algorithm of all time, and that is you, the gurus. And without further ado, it is my huge pleasure to be talking about a book from none other than the great Miyamoto Musashi, the greatest samurai of all time. For those of you who don't know who Musashi is, he was born in 1584. He was a samurai, died at the age of 61, and I believe it was 1645. And Musashi, his story reads like the greatest ninja movie of all time. Seriously, this guy was the ultimate badass. Where do I start with Musashi? Before I dive into the work, the legendary work that we're going to be talking about, Dokkodo, which means the way of walking alone. Musashi began his sword fighting, his dueling at a very young age, at the age of 13, and they say that he fought over 60 duels, never lost a single one. Such an impressive figure in martial arts history and just world history, really. Musashi has had such an impact on the psychology of many people who feel dedicated to a craft. And the reason why we are going to be talking about him today is because you can learn, as I've learned, so much from reading his works. And to the best of humanity's knowledge, Musashi wrote two works. One of them is Dokkodo, that we're going to be talking about, a very short work, only 21 precepts. But he also wrote the Book of Five Rings, which is a little bit longer work, but also life-changing. It's really up there with Sun Tzu's Art of War in terms of Eastern strategy books. This is a classic work of art, one that will be studied throughout the entire time human beings are on this earth. And so I'm so happy to be talking to you about Dokkodo. And there are 21 precepts, and a lot of them pretty much read like Stoic philosophy, but I'm going to read for you one of my favorite ones right now. This is precept number 16. It goes, "Do not collect weapons or practice with weapons beyond what is useful." Now, in this context, Musashi is talking about weapons, but I think really this idea extends to really anything in life, especially when it comes to craftsmanship. And so, as a person who has various crafts, as Musashi did, Musashi was not only a legendary martial artist and warrior, but he was also a very accomplished painter and tea master, if you can believe Musashi being chill. But this guy was really great at everything he did. And there's so many wonderful stories of how he fought duels where he was outnumbered and prevailed, and how he had so much control over martial arts, over his craft. It's really remarkable stuff. But when I read this precept and he's talking about not collecting weapons and only practicing what's useful, what I get from it is the idea that we should be very practical in everything. and that our virtue is really what carries us throughout life. And it's so interesting because even though Dokkodo was written in the 17th century, in many ways you see echoes of this throughout history. In fact, I'm thinking right now about the Odyssey, the story of Odysseus getting shipwrecked after Troy and then landing back at Ithaca. And one thing I always reflect on is about how they say that even though Odysseus was shipwrecked on an island, I think it was even Lemnos, I might be wrong, somebody can correct me on which island he was shipwrecked while he was trying to make it back home to Ithaca. They say that even while basically wearing rags, all his clothes tattered, remember that Odysseus was the king of Ithaca, and here he was wearing rags, that he still looked regal, gallant. He had a manly body. He had a physique. And it's so interesting when you think about that. And it actually like kind of makes sense why he was renowned as a warrior, not just a strategist and a cunning guy. He was a very impressive figure. Like, they say he was basically the second greatest warrior behind Achilles. Of course, he fought with Ajax over that title, but nevertheless, Odysseus was an impressive figure. The other thing that puts into context the figure of Odysseus, I know that we're talking about Musashi, but I'm drawing parallels here, is that when he returned to Ithaca, he was able to show his wife that he was who he was, Penelope, by shooting his bow and arrow that only he could string back through axe holes, which was such a hard feat. You had to be a master bowman in order to pull off that feat of shooting an arrow through those rings in the axes. And he was the only one to do that amongst the suitors. And that pretty much revealed that Odysseus was home. And we know what happened to the suitors. And so the idea of what I'm trying to communicate is that Odysseus, no matter what happened to him along his Odyssey, he always had skill. That never left him, his skill. And he was always regal. He was always regal, not because of what he had or his clothes, but because of his mindset, because of the body that he had cultivated over time, and because of his character ultimately, the broader strokes of his character. And people can criticize Odysseus as being like snakish. You could read into that about his character, but he was also a very daring guy and ultimately was a big part of the Greek success at Troy. And so I draw that parallel between what Musashi is saying here and just the fact that we get Musashi's philosophy through the Dokkodo. We are so lucky to have it. And so if you've never read the Dokkodo, I greatly encourage you to check it out. It is a classic. It is stunning how Stoic philosophy is all the same despite all the different regions of the world and time periods. And this is a great Stoic work by the legendary Miyamoto Musashi. So that's what I wanted to share. I love this book. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you glean as much as you can from it. And I look forward to getting your recommendations, the guru's recommendations on what I should read next. You can check out this book. It's posted in AskAGuru, and you will find many awesome books along with it. Be sure to share with me and with the rest of the world on AskAGuru your favorite books, your favorite music, movies, and TV shows, and I guarantee you will get the most amazing recommendations right back. So be sure to like this video, comment for the algorithm, share with your friends, family, and loved ones. And also like what we're doing. Follow us on the socials, AskAGuru app. Subscribe here at AskAGuru TV. But most importantly, we look forward to seeing you on the platform via the app or askaguru.com. Love you, gurus. Peace. Till next time.